Well, hello everyone. It's like you here show you the coloring right here is like your weekend number one. As you see right here, is I went ahead and colored right here is a coloring right here that I did of say Tyrannosaurus. It's a Tyrannosaurus Rex. It is. It's like got the, with the T-Rex. You say and normally I guess that the type of dinosaur that you would normally see with it, maybe the more than 100 teeth or something like that. It's like between knowing about between a shark and then of course it's like that type of it's a life species it is. But anyway, that I remember that whenever I was in school, of course, a lot of people it's like the kind of dinosaurs they had the the big jaws. It's like that the kind of jaws that for whatever reason that I guess the way that they walked and of course that how they the way they would eat that a lot of times it's like knowing about that yeah, like with the type of dinosaurs it is. And that's just a thing about me that I begin to wonder if movies, it's like like the movie Jurassic Park, if they're ever going to maybe re-release the movie Jurassic Park in 3D. It is that maybe have a get a maybe make a new Jurassic Park. But then of course that they've had like other movies that related to dinosaurs in there. And of course that if anybody were to ask me if the particular movie that I would think of that had anything to do with dinosaurs, I would probably say DeMilo, the mystery to Tyrannosauratops or anything, DeMilo or anything like that. But anyway, but other than talk about it's like let's say other than the Land Before Time, it is that you have right here is that see the dinosaurs say known as the Tyrannosaurus Rex. It is, and then knowing about that with most to say with the so far as this weekend number one activity is talk about is like the number 0, and so you got times tables and you see right here that it gets bigger. It's like for the first row it's like knowing about it goes from 1 to 4. It is of course most of them if we to do the times table, some of them go from like 1 to 10 and 1 to 15 or 1 to 20. I have not seen them whenever I was in school. I have not seen one that went to like 1 through 50, and I was at one time going to maybe make it do a times table. It's like that went all the way up to 1,000, if I remember right. That I want to know exactly. It's like knowing about between 100 times 100, for 10,000 it is, and knowing about that. That if you want to do a multiplication table. I know it's like if you have like 100 and 115 times 115, and of course it got the number 0. But if you do the times table, I guess my best guess is if you just like do the math right, because a lot of times you probably think about it, it's like need a calculator just to do that. But on the other hand too, that I usually think about is like especially on the weekends is knowing about it's like guess the right answer for it's like if I would do the math problem. It's like 115 times 115. I would probably say it would be about see here 10, see here between 10s, like knowing about 150. So my best guess is it would be about 25,000. So I'll go ahead and try that. It's like guess it's like for 25,000, 115 times 115. See 115 times 115. Is it 25,000? Oh, see here it's 100. See here 13,225. It looks like. So yeah, that knowing about it's like 13 for 13,000. See here if I did the math right, that if it's like knowing about 115, because knowing about it's like for whatever equals 0 it is. It's like knowing about with me that if I'm not good at math, but I'll just go ahead and write down on here that it's like 113. It's like for 225. And basically, the the times, it's like if you were to take that number, it's like knowing about between bigger numbers and smaller numbers is knowing about between 115 and 115. It is really. I don't know. It's like knowing about with me that knowing about time to figure it out. But other than that, one thing I'm gonna get time for right here is, of course, as talk about was like with the dinosaurs is knowing about if they existed back in like maybe 13,000 BC or something like that. Nearly 3 or 4 million years ago it is. So you got this with the dinosaur right here. Like other than that is that. With the dinosaurs that I have right here is talk about like, hey yo man. But other than that, you got right here is the numbers, and then looking at the numbers is if one number would probably be bigger than the other, is knowing about that fact about between right answer or wrong answer, like eat the number that's wrong, or have it removed is like 2 equals 0, or it could be it's like 2 times 3 is like for free, and then of course knowing about picking out for whichever that course will be the right or wrong answer it is. And then of course you have right here is that the type of dinosaur right here is like other than that you got the dinosaur right here is talking about is like the types of dinosaurs is knowing about that which ones that were given for whatever name it is. And so whenever I remember whenever I was in school, about every weekend that a lot of times that we would do something fun in class, such as like maybe do a game or some type of activity. You got right there is the T. You got right there is the T, and then of course with the T that is written is a in cursive, and then of course the way it's like knowing about that if you want to go ahead and maybe write it's like for T it's like for like the creative alphabetical line, and then of course memorizing the number of dinosaurs that more likely exist. But anyway, do like what you call like a game puzzle. It's like we're using the letter T's it is. And with this one right here with the capital T right here is that maybe go ahead add some dotted fixtures, knowing about this, like make it kind of look like a tree. It's like the top of the tree would be at about right there, and then of course like with the branches at about right here is like knowing about with the tree trunk right here, and then along with the roots. But other than that is that you got right here is the T's right here, and just knowing about how many leaves do you think are equal is like maybe 115 or something like that. Like the answer is not 0 unless the leaves or what you call have been removed or anything like that. We ought to know that. Talk about it's like with the black marker, which some of the times that like you hear on like those game shows, and it's like like a buzzer. It is talking about it's like you use a dot, but then of course if the answer is correct, a lot of times that they like have like what you call is like circles. I think a lot of those game shows is knowing about that. If there's a wrong answer, it is knowing about like a ding ding, ding ding, that type of stuff. But anyway, but you have right here for weekend number 1 is the types of details I would hit and add right here for it's like for the view, it's like for the dinosaur it was, and knowing about that. If there was what you call maybe a few critters, it's like in the background right here. If I so go ahead and add that, and then of course a lot of times that we could probably think about is like the types of critters that you would normally see. It's like out there in the wild area is that you say maybe a giant beetle or anything like that. But then knowing about that with these types of critters, it is that knowing about that they would keep thinking about back then back nearly 3 or 4 million years ago, is knowing about that. I don't even know if I can imagine what the grasshoppers and crickets look like back then. It is, but on the other hand too, that knowing about is like with the view right here is that you see using the green and add some details right here for the something that looks like the sky. But anyway, but this type of details is knowing about usually that nearly 12, 13 years ago, Yeah, I remember that a lot of times I would spend my weekend. It's like, getting off. Sometimes I would even work late on like a Friday night. That was back then whenever I was about 17 years old. It was, working at say McDee's, and then of course that I remember that when you're working late at night, and then of course sometimes I would not get home until about 11:30, maybe 12 o'clock at night, and just knowing about that, don't really want to do homework, don't want to work on schoolwork. It is maybe just play, video games, or maybe watch TV or something like that. But then to know is that that with most of us, we could probably think about that, maybe just to do some type of activity, just to get some practice. It's like knowing about with most of the time that I think it is that that with our schooling is I guess we not blame somebody if they don't know the answer to a certain question. It is that that knowing about you were tested, and how come you can't memorize this? How come you can't remember this? Like, I'm gonna beat you. I'm gonna beat you with my ruler, anything like that. But other than that is knowing about with the way I think about it is that with with most of classes and teachers, it is knowing about. I remember that whenever I would go, walk in the classrooms, and those couple years ago, and just knowing about if you were to misspell something, and they would have you write it down 5 times. It is, but then knowing about that we could probably think about is that talk about is I get mad a lot of times is knowing about that number 0 is number 0 could maybe represent a score of like an F. It's like you failed the test, or you failed to turn this in, or anything like that. Some kids may call it an oops. It is. You got the oops right here. Some people may think about it as like the number 0, the way the shape of it. It starts out as like it's like an egg shape. Starts out as like an egg shape, and then after the egg shape, and then it hatches, and then it starts growing. It starts growing to about maybe 2 or 3 inches, 4 millimeters, tall, until it gets even bigger. It gets even bigger. It's like we got the dinosaur right there. But other than that, you have right here, it's like what the times table is. But anyway, and here are the directions about it's like, I guess the simple steps about working. They say one of the calculators I have, of course, with memorizing the numbers, and then of course with clearing. It's like with the tools and stuff. But I remember that whenever I was in math class, it was that the teachers would have you do like long division. Of course, with other math problems, long division and rounding, and then of course with word problems, it was. And I can remember that that a lot of times that the work was pretty hard. My scores would be, I would say, I would even think that they would probably be what you call about above a 30, a 35, 40%. It is a lot of times that say if you do the basic math, or it could be calculus or whatever, that knowing about how they grade you for for your schoolwork. But other than that, is talking about right here is like with the Rex, and the long thing say with this big belly, it is the last step, of course. That go ahead add a little bit of color right here is like talking about, it's like showing off say is for for his big belly. It is the big belly, and knowing about Mr. Rex right here, Mr. T-Rex has, let's say, is a big belly, is like to know it about if he's full of not, or if he's needs more numbers. But but between wrong answers and correct answers is no. It's like that like you just gotta play along. But other than that, it's like knowing about it's like what say was with the dinosaurs, and along with say with it's like with the weekend number 1 coloring.